On the news, Osun PDP Governor Ademola Adeleke meets with President Buhari, says he benefited from Electoral Act signing. Independent National Electoral Commission INEC extends deadline for PVC collection, warns against discrimination. And court terminates suit against Akwa Ibom PDP governorship candidate. It's good to have you join us on News Now. I am Mary Kanu. Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has commended President Muhammadu Buhari for ensuring a free and fair governorship election in the state. Speaking during a media chat after meeting with the president on Friday, Adeleke commended President Buhari for signing the 2022 Electoral Act into law, saying the president's assent to the law paved the way for his victory as the governor of the state. Adeleke added that his visit to the State House would also afford him the opportunity to discuss issues of federal assistance with the Chief of Staff to the President, Ibrahim Gambari.
Since my election, I feel like I should come and say hello to Mr. President and thank him for signing that Electoral Act, because I benefited from it. That paved way for free and fair election. And all the international community, they are applauding Nigeria, that Nigeria is set for democracy. So that is why I'm here today, to see him and thank him, and I'm wishing him well, for this remaining year in office. Some of the other things, I've already submitted it. I will see the Chief of Staff, for us to discuss on the way forward to federal government to assist Osun State.
The Independent National Electoral Commission INEC has announced the extension of the deadline for collecting permanent voters' cards (PVCs) to Sunday, January 29, 2023. The Commission announced this in a statement signed by its National Commissioner and Chairman Information and Voter Education, Festus Okoye. The Commission also frowned at allegations of discriminatory issuance of PVCs in some locations, warning that this is against the law and that all bona fide registrants are entitled to their PVCs. INEC had fixed December 12 to January 22nd for the collection of PVCs in over 774 local government areas. According to the statement by the Commission, as a result of the deadline change, the collection of PVCs from registration areas will now continue till January 22nd, after which collection at local government areas will continue on January 23rd. And a chief magistrate court in Abuja has terminated the criminal suit filed against the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Akwa Ibom State, Umo Eno. The chief magistrate, Emmanuel Iyana, said following an affidavit of urgency filed by Eno on Monday and granted on Tuesday, the matter was terminated. Iyana had issued an arrest warrant on December 23rd after convicting the governorship candidate on charges bordering on cheating and dishonestly inducing delivery of property. Although Eno's campaign organization denied knowledge of the suit, they later filed an application seeking to vacate the order on the grounds that they were not served the hearing notice of the suit. The chief magistrate also vacated the warrant of arrest and set aside the entire proceedings and judgment. And Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello has described the APC presidential flag bearer Bola Tinubu as a president in the waiting to be sworn into office, considering his unprecedented clout and wider acceptability in the eyes of voters across the nation. The Kogi State Governor, who was on a thank-you visit to President Muhammadu Buhari at the State House Abuja, said with Tinubu's pedigree and considerable experience in partisan politics, he possesses the much-needed capacity to prove his mettle in every sphere of human endeavor. Governor Bello, however, expressed profound gratitude and appreciation to President Buhari for his visit to Kogi State and the commissioning of legacy projects.
It is a follow-up visit that I come today to thank Mr. President and to present an album of some of the projects he commissioned. And by the special grace of God, we are going to catalogue all other projects and achievements within the life of this administration and present it to him. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu have 21 governors, APC governors. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu have touched lives of Nigerians across board. He is a performer. He is a builder. He built human beings. He built nations. And he has started telling us exactly what he's going to do. And this administration, or his administration by the special grace of God, is going to be more run by the younger generation. And you know surely that the younger generation constituted the quantum number of voters in this coming election. We're more enlightened. We know exactly. And we know that Bola Ahmed Tinubu knows the road. And we are ready to follow that person who knows the road, which is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And thank God that is a candidate of President Muhammadu Buhari. And that is why you could see that President Muhammadu Buhari is already campaigning for him, that he will continue where he will stop, to continue to add to the value of what he has put on ground. So, issue of any other person campaigning, against him, we are only making him to be more popular. He's already a good product that have sold himself. He has distinguished himself, and we are all 100%, ready to vote Bola Ahmed Tinubu come 25th of February 2023, and we will joyfully escort him to the villa on May 29, 2023.
Another industrial action looms in Nigeria's health sector as members of the National Association of Resident Doctors have threatened to embark on a nationwide industrial action if the federal government fails to address their demands. NARD president in an interview said the association does not desire to down its tools, knowing its implication for the health sector, but could be forced to do so if the government refuses to address their demands before January 28, when the association will end its National Executive Council meeting. According to the association, some of the unresolved issues include the irregularities in the new circular on an upward review of the medical residency training fund, non-payment of outstanding arrears of the new hazard allowance, as well as the non-payment of the consequential adjustment of the minimum wage to some of its members. The Resident Electoral Commissioner, Independent National Electoral Commission INEC Lagos State Olusegun Agbaje, says fake news is one of the challenges capable of threatening the electioneering process in the forthcoming general elections. Agbaje, while speaking during a symposium for journalists themed 2023 Elections, Fake News and its Implication on Security, organized by the Lagos State Police Command, said fake news had become the order of the day, especially with the advent of the internet. Well, this next report has more details. With just about 42 days until the 2023 general elections, stakeholders have charged journalists in the country to avoid being purveyors of fake news in all its forms. The stakeholders who spoke at this one-day symposium on the menace of fake news held at the police offices Mesikeja, Lagos, tasked media practitioners on professionalism and patriotic reporting ahead of the February 25 and March 11 polls. Speaking at the event, the Resident Electoral Commissioner for Lagos, Olusegun Agbaje, said fake news poisons the mind of the citizenry and could lead to breakdown of law and order.
It's important to stress that peace and security are very important ingredients for the socio-economic, educational, technological, cultural, and most importantly, the democratic growth of a nation.
The Commissioner of Police in Lagos State, Abiodun Alabi, who was represented by the Deputy Commissioner of Police Operations, Bassett Awa, said the spread of fake news will impact negatively on the security of the elections.
This has become dicer with the advent of internet, which enables unfettered sharing of information among people on social media. Fake news spreads like wildfire in every facet of our society, which, if not checked, could skew the electoral outcome and disunite the nation. We therefore urge the media, which is the watchdog of the society, to ensure that only verified information is disseminated via their various platforms.
Also speaking at the event, a representative of the Nigerian Broadcast Commission pointed out that politicians use any means, including media organizations, to outsmart their opponents, adding that this has proven to be a dangerous trend that must be stopped.
The home of fake news today is the social media space, which has been saturated with all kinds of and manners of fake news about issues that have security implications. Journalists, for whatever reasons, go about using them without verification and proper investigation, especially on issues bordering on national security. For example, the irresponsible and mischievous story of Jibrin from Sudan, the one on Mahmoud Mamun, the Boko Haram negotiator arrested by the DSS. So many unconfirmed news went on air through various media publications to the extent that the DSS has to come out and caution the media on such publication.
The agency and the service will not tolerate and will deal decisively, stringently with anybody found to be spreading such kind of fake news to cause disharmony, to cause problem in the country. You must just have to verify your information before you dish it out to members of the public.
The stakeholders also called on journalists across the country to be patriotic in their dealings to ensure a smooth passage of the highly anticipated polls. Mary Kanu, TV360, Lagos. President Muhammadu Buhari on Friday attended the Global South Summit, calling on the 120 members to agree on a common agenda regarding ways to reduce the increasing burden of debt. The Global South Summit is hosted by India and it brings 120 developing countries together. The theme for this year's summit is Unity of Voice and Unity of Purpose. President Buhari, who participated in the virtual summit from the presidential villa in Abuja, urged leaders of the Global South to work out ways to address inflation in that region of the world.
Excellencies, it is in line with the vision One Earth, One Family, One Future that India calls for this summit, bringing together leaders of the South to share their perspectives and priorities on a common platform ahead of the G20 summit later this year. Nigeria is in full support of this noble initiative and hope that the outcome of the summit will be given top priority at G20 meetings. I am also optimistic that the summit will address issues of climate change, food security, and access to energy, as well as ways to reduce the increasing burden of debt and inflation on the global South. This huge debt burden has significantly derailed many countries' development plans. The effect of the COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine conflict has further aggravated the situation. In this regard, I wish to advise fellow leaders to agree on a common agenda to enable us to put forward our collective demands to the global North through India as voice of the South.
We'll take a break here, but still to come, UK jury declares Benjamin Mendy of 6 counts of rape. We'll bring you details of the story and more right after this break.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
Welcome back. A recap now of our top stories tonight. Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has commended President Muhammadu Buhari for ensuring a free and fair governorship election in the state. Speaking during a media chat after meeting with the president on Friday, Adeleke commended President Buhari for signing the 2022 Electoral Act into law, saying the president's assent to the law paved the way for his victory as the governor of the state. We also told you that the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has announced the extension of the deadline for collecting permanent voters' cards (PVCs) to Sunday, January 29th, 2023. In a statement signed by its National Commissioner and Chairman Information and Voter Education, Festus Okoye, the Commission also frowned at allegations of discriminatory issuance of PVCs in some locations, warning that this is against the law and that all bona fide registrants are entitled to their PVCs. In case you missed any of the news bulletin or for more updates, you can catch us on Mix4 TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. And also COVID-19 updates. The presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress, Dumebi Kachuku, has tested positive for COVID-19. Kachuku made a revelation in a statement, adding that he was isolating and had cancelled all public events till he receives a negative report. He also called on Nigerians not to be vigilant and not to take the coronavirus for granted, as infection rates have risen rapidly all over the world in the last few weeks. And some 900 million people in China have been infected with the coronavirus as of January 11, according to a study by Peking University. The report estimates that 64% of the country's population have the virus. Hundreds of millions of Chinese are traveling to their hometowns, many for the first time since the pandemic began ahead of the Lunar New Year on January 23rd. Meanwhile, China has stopped providing daily COVID statistics since abandoning the zero-COVID policy. We'll take a short break and return with business updates. Welcome back. It's time for business news and stock market review with Folashade Ogunrinde. Folashade, over to you.
Many thanks, Mary. In business, President of the Senate, Hamad Lawan, has said granting waivers to revenue-generating agencies may be suspended if they are unable to improve on revenue generation from their agencies. Lawan said this while briefing journalists of the Senate's press corps in Abuja on Thursday while marking his 64th birthday. Lamenting the low revenue turnout from revenue-generating agencies, Lawan taxed the agencies on the need to improve on funds instead of relying on the federal government.
Improve on revenue generation, collection, because it's not looking too sustainable that we tolerate people, some agencies of government, to misapply or not even declare the revenues they collect. We can't continue with that. So for us in the Senate, we have decided that for the remaining part, we'll continue to engage with our revenue generating agencies until we get better outcomes from them. And this is possible. This is imperative. And also the concessions and the waivers that government has given to some companies and individuals maybe, we need to review that. Certain things can hold on, but certain other things, you have to review them.
The federal government has inaugurated its Project TMAX, a technical and vocational education and training program in Edo aimed at adding value to the lives of 2,000 residents in the state. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Education Intervention, Fela Bank Olemo, said the project was already running in 6 other states across the country. Bank Olemo, who spoke at the launch of the project on Thursday in Benin City, said the website for Edo residents to register for the project had also been opened. On the part, Edo Commissioner of Education, Joan Ovege, commended the federal government for selecting the state as a beneficiary of the project.
The plan is to train 15,000 Nigerians across board, on vocation skills. And when I say vocation skills, and it speaks to skills that we know that on a daily basis will improve the life of that Nigerian. So coding, graphic skills, tiling, carpentry skills, mechanical skills, pastry, baking and pastry, makeup and fashion design. So we're doing it across the country. We're going to be training 2,000 people in Edo State, and we are confident that it will be value adding. We're excited with the kind of reception we have in Edo State. We're confident that just like we've had in all the other 6 states, that will make it a success here.
And the reason we are very excited about this also is because this federal government intervention aligns very much with what we are also doing at the state level, particularly Governor Obaseki's focus on TVET, technical, vocational education and training for young people.
I'm expecting that the students will be very serious and ready to learn and take the skill further, that after this training they can establish themselves and become entrepreneurs.
We'll take a breather now and return with a review of the stock market. To stay with us. The last day of trading on the NGX ended in the greens as all-share index maintained a bullish trend at 0.89%, and we see that market capitalization rested above 28 trillion naira. In total, 120 listed equities participated in trading, ending with 36 gainers and 12 losers. Berger Paints PLC led the gainers chart with a share price appreciation of 60 kobo per share, followed by Total Nigeria at 212 naira 30 kobo per share. Now on the losing side, Lasaka Assurance came out last with an end-of-the-day price depreciation at 10% at 99 kobo per share, followed by Computer Warehouse Group with a loss of 10 kobo. Now compared with Thursday's trading day, today's data shows 3% improvement in volume, 67% decline in turnover, with 33% improvement in deals, and that translates to a volume of 270 million volumes of shares valued at 2.55 billion naira, exchanging hands in 4,591 deals. Now let's see how some of our global stocks fared, shall we? Now, aside FTSE and Dow Jones, which finished in the greens at 0.71% and 0.15% respectively, Asian stocks Nikkei ended on a bearish note as a result of Bank of Japan policy adjustment. And that's it on Business News and Stock Market Review. Back to you, Mary, for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Folashade, for the update on the global scene. Russia says it is planning to work with Burkina Faso to develop strategies to fight terrorism in the West African nation. This emerged following a meeting between Burkina Faso Prime Minister and Russian ambassador accredited to Burkina Faso. The Russian envoy said the country will develop a roadmap for bilateral cooperation, which could bring to Burkina Faso a better security framework and fight against terrorism. And in sports, a UK jury has cleared Manchester City and France footballer Benjamin Mendy of 6 counts of rape and 1 of sexual assault against 4 women following a 6-month trial. The court found the player not guilty of 6 counts of rape after jurors were unable to reach a majority verdict on the matter on Friday. The 28-year-old France international was facing 8 counts of rape, 1 count of attempted rape and 1 more count of sexual assault. However, the Crown Prosecution Service has vowed to seek a retrial of the player over the 2 rape charges the jury couldn't decide on. Well, that's the size of a news bulletin this evening. Thank you for watching. I am Mary Kanu.